And we got breaking news out of the NBA where the Lakers, Timberwolves, and Jazz have completed a blockbuster trade. The deal is going to send D'Angelo Russell to the Lakers, Mike Conley Jr. to the Timberwolves, and Russell Westbrook to the Jazz. Minnesota will also receive 3 second-round picks in the deal, while Utah will receive an unprotected first-rounder in 2027. Westbrook reportedly expected to be bought out by the Jazz. That would make him a free agent. All right, Russ Thaler here in studio. Let's welcome in CBS Sports NBA writer Colin Ward-Henninger. Colin, first of all, reaction to the deal. Who do you think made out best in this?
Well, who made out best is the Utah Jazz. They ended up giving away 3 pieces that really weren't part of their future and coming away with a pretty juicy Lakers future pick. I mean, we don't know where the Lakers are going to be in 2027, but we can imagine LeBron James will be on the downturn. Anthony Davis may be getting hurt. That could be a very nice pick and is why it's been one of the most coveted picks in the NBA. Turning to the Lakers, I think they did a pretty good job here. It was pretty clear since last summer that they had to get rid of Russell Westbrook and turn him into something because they were not going to keep him this summer. They do end up trading one of their picks, but they still do have the 2029 picks. They didn't have to surrender both. And they end up with some pretty capable NBA players, which is something that they haven't had all season. So D'Angelo Russell is shooting the ball better than he has in his entire career. Malik Beasley is a guy who can stretch the floor, knock down 3-pointers, the perfect type of guy that you want around LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And then Jared Vanderbilt, really just a hustling, rebounding guy who's actually starting to shoot some threes. So maybe some possibility of playing alongside Anthony Davis as well. So really, it was pretty clear that the Lakers were going to do something with Russell Westbrook, particularly during LeBron James's record-breaking night. Russell Westbrook kind of taking forever to leave the court, which led to a halftime altercation between him and head coach Darvin Ham. So it was pretty clear that Westbrook was on his way out before this trade deadline. For them to come away with 3 pretty good NBA players, I think they did a good job, and they only had to surrender one of those picks rather than the 2.
Who makes the new team they're going to best compared to what they were before in this trade?
Well, it's got to be D'Angelo Russell, because really outside of LeBron James and Anthony Davis, the Lakers don't have any sort of shot creation. I mean, they have some pretty good complementary pieces in Austin Reeves and Lonnie Walker and guys like that. But when LeBron James and Anthony Davis either are off the floor or they need to take a few possessions off, D'Angelo Russell is a guy who's adept in the pick and roll. As I said, he's shooting the ball better than he has his entire career. But really, he's a pretty good passer. He's a playmaker. Defensively, they're going to be hurt, particularly when he's on the floor. But guys like Patrick Beverley, other guys coming off the bench, Thomas Bryant, can kind of make up for that with their energy and hustle. So D'Angelo Russell is the difference maker here. Obviously, Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt are complementary pieces who I expect will play prominent roles with the Lakers. But Russell is really the key to this trade here.
Yeah, and it was widely thought that LeBron James was the reason why Russell Westbrook was in L.A. in the first place. It became pretty obvious that that just wasn't going to work on that team. Is this a sign that LeBron's influence in forming the Lakers is less than it was earlier?
I'm not sure. It actually could go the other way. I know he brought Russell Westbrook to the Lakers. It was clear that he did not want him there anymore. Everything LeBron James has been saying over the last months have been indicating that, hey, we need to do something. I think he told somebody, you know what the F needs to happen. You don't need to read too much between the lines to realize that he was talking about trading Russell Westbrook, because he's really the only player outside of Anthony Davis that has the salary that is big enough to bring in quality players like they just returned. So on one hand, you can say, hey, look, the front office is making up for LeBron's mistake. On the other hand, you could say that the front office has been kind of pushed into making a deal like this and surrendering one of those valuable future picks in order to maximize the roster around LeBron James and give them a chance to win. Do I think that these 3 players coming in make the Lakers a legitimate title contender? No. But does it please LeBron James and give him at least a chance to be competitive in what could be his last few years in Los Angeles? Probably. So on one hand, it was clear from the beginning that the Russell Westbrook situation next to LeBron James was not going to work. They had a championship level team and they decided to trade all those pieces for Russell Westbrook. It was an abject disaster. Now they're trying to kind of recoup something by getting rid of Westbrook, and they've added some quality players, but in effect, the Lakers front office would probably be better off holding on to those picks and going for something bigger down the line, or even a rebuild. But since LeBron James is on the roster and he's playing at this level, you kind of owe it to him and owe it to yourselves to try to see what you can make happen in this season.
CBS Sports senior columnist Bill Ryder just checking in with us to let us know that this deal is now official. We talked about the Lakers, a little bit about the Jazz. What about the Timberwolves? What do they get out of this deal? Why do you think they got in with what they got?
Yeah, this was kind of a sign that D'Angelo Russell is not the point guard that they want. So they went all in last summer with the Rudy Gobert trade, surrendering all their future draft capital in order to bring this guy in. It hasn't worked. Obviously, Karl Anthony Towns has been injured for most of the season, so it was hard to see how that was going to work. But in the games that we had, the sample size we did have, it didn't look like it was working well. So D'Angelo Russell, as I mentioned, kind of a high usage point guard, a poor defensive player. You bring in Mike Conley, a veteran, doesn't need the ball, will not make mistakes for you, just an absolute solid guy. And with the way that Anthony Edwards has been playing recently, it's becoming clearer that at least on the perimeter, this is going to be his team offensively. So they did not need a guy like D'Angelo Russell kind of clogging things up there. So I think that this is a sign from the Timberwolves that moving forward, they want to build around Anthony Edwards and potentially Karl Anthony Towns, and that this does make them a little bit better defensively because Conley is a better defensive player than D'Angelo Russell.
News of this trade has been percolating for quite some time. It's now just become official, but never once did I or anyone else I know hear that Utah was interested in actually keeping Russell Westbrook. The real genuine feeling is that he's going to be bought out. So where does Russell Westbrook land?
Man, that is a great question. I think that's the question the entire league is asking right now and has been asking for a while is, does anyone want Russell Westbrook? If you look traditionally in a buyout market, the teams that are aggressive are the teams who think they at least believe they are one piece away. And generally, it's a veteran player who hasn't been in a good situation and wants to win. With Russell Westbrook, you're bringing in a guy who has proven that it's very difficult for him to fit into a team concept. Even though he bought in to playing off of the bench, coming off of the bench for the Lakers, you could tell at times he was upset with playing 27, 28 minutes a game, being benched in fourth quarters. He wasn't pleased with that. If he goes to a contending team, they're going to have the pieces already in place that they believe make them a championship contender. So bringing in a guy like Westbrook, who's going to play his own style, not necessarily buy into a team concept, and with the way that his shooting percentages have dropped over the last few years, he's a non-threat. People do not guard him on the perimeter. And if you look, what was his bread and butter? Getting to the basket, scoring in the lane. He's been bad at that too. So this is a very difficult question for me to answer. I can't think off the top of my head of a single contending team who would want Russell Westbrook. The only question is maybe one of these mid-level teams that sees him as a potentially cheap rental player for the rest of the season, see how it goes, and then maybe that parlays into a cheaper deal, a little bit of a bargain over the summer. But right now, I wouldn't say that Russell Westbrook's prospects in the buyout market are very good if he wants to play for a contending team.
Big NBA three-team deal. That's CBS Sports NBA writer Colin Ward-Henninger. Colin, thank you so much for your knowledge. Much appreciated. Here's one more look at the details of this three-team trade in the NBA, which is now official. D'Angelo Russell going back to the Lakers. Mike Conley Jr. off to the Timberwolves, and Russell Westbrook going to the Utah Jazz. Minnesota's also getting 3 second-round picks in the deal. Utah's receiving an unprotected first-rounder in 2027. Westbrook, again, reportedly expected to be bought out by the Jazz, which would make him a free agent.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.